Report. Eric Adams says it's time to move forward and focus on the future of New York City after Trump's DOJ ordered his corruption case dropped. But I know the news media is saying the case is dropped, but that's really not true. It's just paused until November. This is Mayor Eric Adams of the city of New York. Adams is a former NYPD officer, Brooklyn Borough president, and now he's the 110th mayor of New York City. Dude's got a long history in public service. Now, as mayor of the city of New York, Eric Adams brought in his team to help run the city. But the federal government has said that most of the people Eric Adams brought in to run the city were corrupt. You have Sheena Wright, the first deputy mayor. Her home was raided on September 4th by federal agents looking into possible bribery scheme. Philip Banks, the deputy mayor for public safety, his home was also raided on September 4th. Schools chancellor David Banks, his home was raided by the FBI and he resigned after the raid. Police commissioner Edward Caban, the top cop in the city, he resigned after the FBI seized his phones in an investigation into a potential fixer scheme with city nightclubs. Interim police commissioner Tom Dillon, his home was raided 1 week after he was appointed to be police commissioner. Next up is the New York City Sheriff Anthony Miranda. He's under investigation for mishandling cash in connection to enforcement of unlicensed smoke shops and possible involvement in a pay-to-play scheme. The New York City Health Commissioner resigned after all this badness came out, and then the chief counsel to Mayor Adams also resigned. And just to be clear, that's not even a full list of everybody who is being investigated for these possible corruption schemes, like, for instance, the police commissioner's brother, who's also under investigation. So now, with all that said, you have a lay of the land. So as you can see, corruption seems to be very rampant in New York City. But here's what the feds specifically were charging the mayor with. So first, we're going to start with the big picture. Mayor Adams is facing federal charges for conspiracy, wire fraud, accepting illegal campaign contributions, and bribery. Now, the allegations in the indictment span from 2014 to 2024. So we're going to now dive into the specifics. Now, count one is conspiracy to commit wire fraud, federal program bribery, and receive illegal campaign contributions from foreign nationals. Under this first count, the government is saying that Mayor Adams was bribed with luxury gifts, and they literally list the luxury gifts out in the indictment. They even put it in a nice simple chart for us. For instance, this 2017 trip to France, Turkey, and China. The government alleges that these were free business class tickets for 3 round-trip tickets from New York to France, Turkey, and China, heavily discounted, and a stay in the Bentley suite at the St. Regis, Istanbul, and the value was $41,000. Now, count 2 of the indictment, we're talking about wire fraud. That's 18 U.S.C. section 1343. Now, count 3 is the solicitation and contribution from foreign nationals. It says that, for instance, businessman 1 is a Turkish national who owned a profit business, and he met with Adams in 2015 and 2018, and Adams directed his staff to accept contributions from him, knowing they were from a foreign national. This solicitation gets you this charge. Count 4 is essentially the same thing, except particularly talk about the September 2023 fundraiser and October 2023 fundraiser. And in both of those instances, you had an organizer promoter who happened to be a foreign national. They pay something like $5,000 to attend, and then that's funneled through the straw donors to the campaign. And last but not least, we have bribery. Now, the government is saying that Adams corruptly solicited and accepted bribe in exchange for being influenced in his official actions. Now, here they point to a specific instance where Mayor Adams allegedly pressured the fire department to issue a TCO, that's a temporary certificate of occupancy. Now, the building that was being built by the Turkish government didn't have proper safety inspections in place. So fire department officials were told that they could, quote, lose their jobs if they didn't comply and issue the temporary certificate of occupancy to the Turkish building. Then the government alleges that after the TCO was issued, that Adams received additional luxury travel benefits, including free business class flights to Guyana. Now, I'm pausing the video right here because why are all these mayors going to Ghana? For instance, the mayor of LA went to Ghana.
Mayor of Los Angeles, Karen Bass, is under intense scrutiny after she was abroad visiting Ghana when the wildfires broke out in the city. She was seen returning to the country at the city's airport, where she refused to comment on the situation.
The mayor of South Fulton went to Ghana.
For more than 20 days, Snelling says the mayor of South Fulton, Khalid Kamal, who now goes by the name Mayor Kobe, documented his trip to Ghana on Instagram.
We should not be asked to go without something so that our elected officials can travel all over the globe.
Now the mayor of New York City is also going to Ghana. What the hell's in Ghana that everybody wants to go to Ghana? Now, this was all horrible timing for Mayor Adams. He was now seeking re-election to become mayor of New York for a second consecutive term. And being charged with public corruption and bribery wasn't going to help him get votes. Now, the Biden-Harris administration were kicked out of office and the Trump administration came in. Now, on February 10th, 2025, the acting attorney general for the U.S. Department of Justice wrote this memo directing the U.S. attorney in the Southern District of New York to cease all prosecutorial operations against the mayor. As you can see, this was a dismissal without prejudice from prosecution of Mayor Eric Adams. Now, because it's without prejudice, the government can bring up these charges again. And that's very important for this document, as you'll see in a second. As you can see, the Attorney General has directed the charges be dropped as long as 3 conditions are met by the mayor. First, Mayor Adams must agree in writing to a dismissal without prejudice, meaning they can bring these charges again. The second condition is the mayor must agree in writing that he is not the prevailing party under what's known as the Hyde Amendment. So what does this mean? Well, back in 1997, Congress passed a law saying that if you were a defendant in a criminal case and you won that case, then the government would pay your legal fees because it would be wrong for the government to force you to go through a trial, make you pay hundreds of thousands of dollars in legal fees, and then when you're found not guilty, it's kind of like, well, so what? So the second condition is that Mayor Adams cannot get his legal fees back because he's not the prevailing party, and he has to agree to that in writing. Now, this is the part that no one else is talking about, the third condition. I'm just going to read it. The matter shall be reviewed by the confirmed U.S. attorney in the Southern District of New York following the November 2025 mayoral election. So just to be clear, they're dropping the charges without prejudice now and say we're going to let the election happen, and then after the election, we're going to reevaluate whether we're going to continue this prosecution. Now, the memo also states the Justice Department has reached this conclusion without assessing the strength of the evidence or the legal theories on which the case is based, which are issues on which we defer to the U.S. Attorney's Office at this time. Moreover, I said during our recent meeting, this directive in no way calls into question the integrity and efforts of the aligned prosecutors responsible for the case, or your efforts in leading those prosecutors in connection with a matter you inherited. Now, I know some of you may be confused. The Justice Department is saying it's dropping this case without prejudice, but it didn't assess the strength of the evidence, and it didn't look at the legal theories on which the case is based. So why are they dropping it? Well, they give 2 reasons. The first reason is they believe that Mayor Adams was targeted by the prior administration over the mayor's stance on immigration policies, and that these charges would affect Mayor Adams' campaign in the 2025 mayoral election. So that's why they want to hold this investigation and these charges until after the election. And then they give their second reason. Quote, the pending prosecution has unduly restricted Mayor Adams' ability to devote full attention and resources to the illegal immigration and violent crime that escalated under the policies of the prior administration. We are particularly concerned about the impact of the prosecution on Mayor Adams' ability to support critical ongoing federal efforts to, quote, protect the American people from the disastrous effects of unlawful mass immigration and resettlement. So it's clear, it's extremely clear. This dismissal has nothing to do with the charges, nothing to do with the evidence. It's really soft pressure on Mayor Adams. If he plays ball and is a good boy until November, these charges may go away permanently. But until then, he has to walk a fine line. But Mayor Adams is spinning this into a totally different story. This is what he has to say about the charges being dropped.
My fellow New Yorkers, as you may have heard, the Department of Justice has directed that the case against me be dismissed, finally ending a months-long saga that put me, my family, and this city through an unnecessary ordeal. As I said from the outset, I never broke the law, and I never would. I would never put any personal benefit above my solemn responsibility as your mayor. It is worth repeating the facts because many sensational and false claims have been made. So let me be clear. I never ask anyone to break the law on my behalf or on behalf of my campaign. Never. And I absolutely never traded my power as an elected official for any personal benefit. So I thank the Justice Department for its honesty. Now, we can put this cruel episode behind us and focus entirely on the future of our city. It's time to move forward. But despite the fact that I am no longer facing legal questions, I also understand that many New Yorkers will still question my character.
Now, the mayor is obviously being disingenuous here because he is not free from legal jeopardy. He is still in legal jeopardy, except the Justice Department says we're going to look at it again in November after the election. Now, this goes back to what I was saying before. This is obviously soft pressure. We're not going to dismiss the charges fully, but just hold them over your head. And the mayor, unfortunately for him, he's got to jump when they say jump. So as always, tell me where I'm wrong in the comments section. Let me know if you think the mayor made a good deal. I think this solves a lot of issues for him in the short term, but what happens after the November election? Do these charges come again, or are they dismissed this time forever? Don't forget, like, share, subscribe, do all that great YouTube stuff. My name is Nate the Lawyer, and I'm gonna see you in the next one. Peace.